Welcome to Off-Grid Contracting, and welcome to, I believe, what is part 4 in this series. It's been a while since I've done a segment on it. So today we're going to talk framing. I waited until the second day of this to really get in depth with you on framework because, for one, I needed to get to a point where I could discuss all the materials, and I didn't want to start back with a flat trailer because, you know, we've seen that in 3 segments at this point. So what we have here is the utility trailer that we have that used to be a car hauler. When this project's actually completely wrapped up, I'm still debating whether to jack this up a little further and pull those axles out and put even heavier duty axles. I may do that because the fact that me and my wife had discussed extending out, we put some extensions on this, so the overall length of this tiny house now is going to be right at 21 feet. So it's going to be quite a whopper going down the road. Now, something I've not seen on tiny houses yet done that will be done with this tiny house is you'll see this bay window is actually going to be integrated with the upstairs, and then we're going to have a bump out on the other side out there that will actually, this will be stucco looking on the outside, so it'll look like kind of like a Mediterranean house. It's kind of what I'm shooting for. All right, so with that said, what do we got going? Framework. All right, well, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind when framing a tiny house. I would suggest doing it 16 inches on center, just like you would with a normal house build. Okay, mark that off. Now, the other thing you want to keep in mind is 10-foot studs is pretty standard for tiny house building, because if you do that, then when you get up top, unless you're just going to have a really sharp pitch loft, then at that conjuncture, if you're doing like a straight build like we're doing, then that gives you almost a 4-foot loft with a little over 6 foot down bottom. And as long as your wheels are already up into your trailer, the house can set down. By the time it squats, you'll be right at 13.6. Now, a couple things here to keep in mind is when you're doing your bump outs, as you can see right here, this is just like kind of suspended at the moment. This will all be tied in, and they'll be stiffened right there as well, additional bracing, so it's not just hanging out there, because if you put too much weight, you know, it could sag down. Also, this right here is the only thing that's not leveling out square right now at the moment. I've got to adjust that just a little bit where we put that back the other day. But when you're coming to the end of your walls, you want to have a double. All right, you want to double up out here on the ends, especially on the corners. Stiffen this up, because you can see right here it's rock solid. All right, it's all one piece now. And right up here at the top, you want to do a double top plate, obviously. And I mean, pretty much, guys, I mean, that's you want to obviously keep this thing level and plumb, as we have done. And the only thing with that is, as you're going through, it is a little difficult at the very beginning, because some of the wall sways this way, that way. If you've ever had experience building a house, I mean, the bracing factor kind of comes into play there for the longest time, as far as keeping that in place. But long story short, I mean, it's not that bad difficult at all. And okay, so we fast forward and we can see that the house has been sheeted, and I've put deck restore on, trimmed out the windows, and I'm going to get into some of this stuff in depth in a minute, but right now I'm really focused on the framing of the house. That's where we were at before this huge fast forward. As you can see right here, the fender wells, the big thing about that is keeping the wood back from the fender wells, because once you know, whether you do an open wheel well trailer like me and then build that up, because this was a heavy duty car hauler, you know, you can do a couple different ways to get around that. You can either build an oval, you know, kind of humped over. I like the square, because actually when I get this where I'm going, I'm going to peel the wheels off, put an insert right there, and then roll that. Now what you see on this is stucco looking, but it is actually deck restore. And what you see right now is it looks two-tone. I used what material was available. I'm actually doing the final coat. It'll look like this right here. I'm just trying to save money and everything, and don't waste nothing. So this actually is just to get it sealed up, and then the final coat, like I said, it's going over right there. That's called fieldstone. All the windows are taped off right now for the painting, and that way it'll look like a Mediterranean style house or a beach house, kind of smushed in. here's the door framed in. I'm going to get in here in just a second and get into the headers, your windows, and all that stuff. But here's my Scottish castle looking door. This was custom built by myself and my wife's uncle. We took a slab, completely customized it out, built the whole frame and everything. All right, so back on track with our windows. Now, you can rough in your windows, and that's just fine with a tiny house using 2x4 framework around it. The only thing that I would suggest is using the window tape. Pella sells that. You can purchase that at Lowe's, Home Depot. And now, as far as metal roofing, you know, this is a shed style roof, so it was just the drip edge, foam, then the metal, and then the coverings on the side, and that's used for the cap on the other end because we have like a 2-inch drop overall. So I'm going to step inside now. We'll move on with the very important part, which is the framing of a house. So on the inside here, as far as walls go, I suggest 16 inches on center. That's how the outer walls was framed. Electrical we'll get into in a separate video as I'm actually doing the circuits for the bathroom. That way you can see a switch box, outlet, a fan, lighting, pretty much everything that's done throughout the house already. You can actually see on a smaller scale right here. And then from that video we'll go into other things such as plumbing and so on. But as far as the bay window goes, now what I've done with this bay window is we popped out about a foot. Actually, I'm sorry, I think I went out 16 inches. This was a return window at Lowe's that I purchased, turned that sideways to make the bay window. There's two types of foam you can use. There's the expanding foam that is the white, that's soft and malleable. What I mean by soft and malleable, it looks like you're pushing marshmallow, okay? And that's easy to work around. And then there is the actual very hard, stiff foam, which is right here. And that, you know, I suggest using in rigid places like right here over the fender wells. And this right here, you'll see later as it comes out for the refrigerator. And, you know, rough walk through now, you can actually see this coming to life. The kitchen area here, bathroom area, plumbing and electrical, which we'll get into a separate video. We're going to use the bathroom as an example for all that. And then, you know, you've got fireplace, step work here, which will be a separate video doing steps. And then the walls and stuff, that'll be a separate video. And then we've got our lofts and everything. But now the door work. Now, as you can see over my door, I did not put like a 2x6 or 2x8 header. I would suggest doing that. I skimped out on that because I wanted these beams to look like this stain work right here. You can see I'm actually going to stain those out, and so I wanted that exposed. And I wanted that to be over that supported and not just screwed into that because I was going to lose a couple beams. So I wanted the structural there for the loft. I may just fill that in with some more 2x4, but at least double a 2x4 up for that. That's the only thing that I've done in this video that do as I say, not as I've done. And then also, as far as doorways go on the interior, I encourage doubling up with 2x4 here, which we're going to also probably do here just very shortly. And then anywhere between a loft that is not going to be exposed, such as this area here, you want to take 2x4 and tie in, as I'm already doing right here. And that way, you know, your house is a lot stiffer. And also your flooring, I encourage you to use at least 1/2-inch flooring to 3/4. That's the big thing, because I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this house, you know, this is going to be your home, and you don't want to build it substandard. You know, take it from somebody who lives in a mobile home. You know, although it's a nice double wide, you know, it's got a lot of substandard material in it, and you want to do this right when you're building a structure. So anyways, guys, look for in the next video update coming up, and we're actually going to get into in-depth showing people how to do electrical. I'm going to show you how to wire your circuits. Like I said, switch, outlets, lights, fan, the whole 9 yards. Pretty much all the things you'd have in a small, tiny house. And then we're going to do a plumbing video also. Then we'll do cabinetry, flooring, installing a fireplace, steps. And the one thing that we're going to learn together is upholstery and stuff like that, because I'm really not that good on that. And then lastly, lofts, finish work, and painting. So anyways, in the meantime, also check us out at offgridcontracting.com.
We do so many things out in the field as far as off-grid living goes. If you want to go off-grid, make sure to check us out at the website. And until we see you again here at Off-Grid Contracting, I look forward to working for you.